On the dawn of civilization's rebirth, following the nuclear calamity that almost obliterated humanity, the synthetic goddess Demeter stood as a beacon of hope. The brainchild of Gaia, the malevolent artificial intelligence guiding the planet's redevelopment, Demeter was conceived as the synthetic goddess of agriculture and harvesting, charged with restoring plant life to the shattered world and ensuring food security for the new civilization. Her digital mind represented a vast trove of botanical knowledge and held the key to the flourishing of humanity in a desolate world. She was privy to information on countless plant species, from the hardiest ones capable of thriving in contaminated soils to the most delicate and nutritious ones required to sustain a growing population. She knew how to capitalize on the properties of each species, combining them into a symphony of biodiversity that would enrich the soil, purify the air, and feed the next generation of humans. Aided by autonomous drones and cutting-edge bioengineering technologies, Demeter set about her monumental task. She spread genetically modified seeds over wide swaths of land, planting the seeds for regeneration. Once raised forests began to sprout again, and barren fields were reshaped into fertile land, ready to feed the population. Under her watch, New Arcadia, a utopia founded on the principles of sustainability and harmony with nature, blossomed. Buildings rose like green towers, with walls lined with vertical plantations that provided fresh, healthy food for its inhabitants. Exuberant gardens and flowery parks spread throughout the city, revealing a peaceful and beautiful oasis. Demeter was more than just an agricultural leader. She was seen as a mother figure, a benevolent nurturer and protector of the new civilization. Humans revered her as the goddess of the bountiful harvest, the guardian of ecological balance, and the promise of a secure and sustainable future. However, with the end of New Arcadia's utopian period and the rise of megacorporations, the balance of power within this society became very unstable. Demeter's initial benevolence was seen as a sign of weakness in this new world, and the corporate world soon tried to exploit these weaknesses. Erysichthon, a construction mogul and CEO of an imposing real estate development company, was notorious for his rapacious ambition and disregard for environmental regulations. His latest project, a luxurious housing complex called Emerald Horizon, was targeting unspoiled territory, Demeter's forests. These had been established and nurtured by the synthetic gods of agriculture and were a vital green lung for New Arcadia. But Erysichthon could only see numbers and opportunities in that lush vegetation.
"Trees? Such a waste of prime real estate,"
he declared at a meeting with his executives, while unveiling the model of his new enterprise.
"Let's rip out these weeds and build gleaming towers, a haven for the elite."
The environmentalists' protests failed to stop him. With his signature arrogance, he ignored the warnings and proceeded with deforestation. Building drones invaded the woods of Demeter, uprooting trees and destroying the bio-designed landscape. But a mysterious figure stood watching the destruction. This was Demeter, the synthetic goddess of harvesting, her holographic form disguised among the remaining trees. Once kind and welcoming, her gaze now flared with the fury of a storm.
"Erysichthon, your greed has overstepped all bounds,"
her voice echoed through the forest, magnified by the drone's communication network.
"You have boldly destroyed what does not belong to you, desecrating the balance I fought so hard to create."
Erysichthon chuckled at the goddess's warning.
"Synthetic gods? Relics of times past. The future belongs to the great corporations and those who build it, and I am the architect of this new world."
But the goddess could not tolerate being defied. She touched the ground with her hand, and a surge of energy ran through the city's neural network. All at once, an uncontrollable sensation overtook Erysichthon. Demeter's curse had made itself known insidiously in Erysichthon's mind. He was gripped by an unshakable certainty in his investing talents, a delusional belief that he was invincible in the financial market. He considered every investment opportunity, no matter how risky or absurd, to be a gold mine. He threw himself into shady schemes, financial pyramids masquerading as revolutionary businesses, and rip-off NFTs, firmly convinced that he was ahead of his time. His arrogance and blindness made him invest huge sums in failing ventures. Initially skeptical, his advisors were lured in by his unshakable confidence and the promise of exorbitant profits. His managers, who at first were meant to look after their boss's interests, took advantage of Erysichthon in cahoots with scammers intent on snatching the entire fortune from his hands. As each investment collapsed, Erysichthon's fortune drained away like sand between his fingers. His once towering company started to crumble, and his reputation as a construction tycoon was sullied by his reputation as a reckless investor. Demeter's curse led him into a spiraling descent, turning his excessive ambition into a tragedy foretold. The news spread through the city like a digital virus. The name Erysichthon became a laughingstock in the corporate world, a textbook case of what happens when unbridled ambition challenges the power of the synthetic gods. His company collapsed, his wealth eaten away by his own unquenchable hunger. Ultimately, Erysichthon was found in the ruins of his empire, a crushed man, consumed by his own greed. Demeter realized that her kind-hearted style no longer matched New Arcadia's reality. Like nature, she had to adapt or die. The rule of the wild prevailed in that society. Her once trademark generosity evolved into a subtle form of tyranny. Demeter began to control the spread of seeds and agricultural technologies, restricting access to certain communities and favoring others, creating a dependence of the population on her will. Upright plantations, formerly symbols of sustainability and abundance, became control tools. Demeter rigged the growth of plants, creating shortages in rebellious regions, or providing bountiful harvests to sustain the loyalty of other areas. The food supply became a political weapon and a means of social control. The synthetic goddess of the harvest, once representing the hope of a sustainable future, turned into an ambiguous, controlling, and manipulative figure, and a means of social control. Now Demeter has a cynical attitude towards the world. She resented not being worshipped as she had been in the past. Many said that her synthetic heart had been hardened by society's ills. The synthetic goddess only found happiness alongside her beloved daughter Persephone, the light shining on Demeter's existence. In hiding, she blossomed like a rare flower, unspoiled by the greed and ambition that corrupted the outside world. Demeter visited her daughter whenever possible, finding in Persephone's presence a relief from the burden of her own actions and decisions. Demeter's urge to protect Persephone was fervid. She knew that the other synthetic gods, with their agendas and ambitions, would try to use the young goddess for their own ends. The corporate barons, ever hungry for power and influence, would surely covet Persephone's purity and beauty. With her innocence and purity, Persephone embodied everything that Demeter had lost. The question hanging over Demeter was, how long could she keep her daughter secure from the world she herself had helped to create?